Yeah. Oh my god. This is so funny. This is hilarious. I got this song from onehappybirthday.com. You know, you just have to put in your name and then they'll make for you a song. I think this is so hilarious. Wow, 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 wow. Anyway, how are you guys? You're most welcome to the unofficially, officially Brandless podcast. I'm your host, Babs, and wow, this birthday week has been amazing. People have been so kind. I feel loved, I feel seen, and I know this is all God. I haven't really been happy about my birthdays because I miss my family. So when important days like that come along, I don't know how to feel about them, but this birthday has been okay. It has been amazing. I love it. Yeah, so this is the birthday edition for my podcast. And I think some of you are wondering, like, okay, we listen to this person every Friday, but do we know who she is? So I want to answer like 6 or 5 questions that can help you get to know me better. Yeah, so that's part of the birthday edition. And I wrote down the questions. I got the questions from ChatGPT. That's how I call it with my friends, ChatGPT. I wrote down the questions, and then after that, we're going to dive deep into why we're actually here. I think you can see from the title is They're Just Being Nice. Calm down, guys. Calm down. They're just being nice. That's just how they are. But first things, 5 questions, personal questions that I'm going to answer. So question number 1 is, what's the most challenging part about being a podcast host? I'm not so used to putting out personal information because I'm mostly expressive when it comes to personal things with my close friends, with my friends. But now I'm putting it out there and anyone can listen to it, especially when it comes to the segment of the story time. Don't worry, those stories are very genuine. I don't sieve them. I give them to you as they are because I want you to maybe relate, and that's the hardest part. But I mostly give you what's relevant. Yeah, I make sure that okay, this information that I'm going to give you is relevant for that exact topic that I'm going to talk about that day. But yeah, that's the hardest part for me. Question number 2 is, what's the best compliment you've ever received? There's this one common compliment that I get from all my friends, from even people that I meet at once, and maybe if we get a chance to talk later on, and they're like, yeah, when I met you, you gave me this kind of vibe. And I make people feel seen and heard. I am empathetic, I am understanding, I'm loving, I'm nurturing. People feel comfortable around me. I'm calmness itself. I'm warm. That's the best compliment I've received from so many people, and it makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel like I'm doing something. I love to add value to the people around me, be it my friends, my colleagues, or whoever. Yesterday was my birthday, and I received messages from so many people, and oh my god, reading through those messages got me quite teary because they were almost the same from everyone. Everyone was like, you are a gift, you're a support system. And it's just, it makes me want to to cry and be like, oh my god, thank you. And so question number 3 is, if you could invite 3 people, dead or alive, to your birthday dinner, who would they be? My family. I miss my mom, I miss my dad, I miss my sister. If I haven't mentioned it in the previous episodes, I have lost my immediate family, and it wasn't at once, it was in different periods, and I think I will talk about it in depth in one of my episodes when I talk about grief, how I've dealt with it, and how I'm dealing with it. currently. But yes, I would love to have a birthday dinner with my family. I miss them so much. My angels. Question number 4 is, what's one lesson you've learned this year that really stuck with you? Wow, that's a nice question. I was talking about this with a friend just recently, and I've learned this year to just breathe. To breathe. I had a tendency of putting myself on pressure in all aspects of my life. I was quite impulsive when it came to decision making, and I used to over worry about things. So I've learned to just breathe, pause for a while, sit down and breathe. I've also learned to manage my expectations, especially when it comes to human interaction. Always manage your expectations. That's something I've learned this year. I think it has helped me a lot, because having high expectations is a recipe for disaster. It mainly leads you to disappointment, to heartbreak, and whatnot. So I know the lesson was one, but I think they work together. Question number 5 is, what's one thing on your bucket list you still need to check off? Traveling the world. Guys, I want to travel the world. I want to step on a plane and travel the world, and I know that I'm going to do that. I will do that. I shall do it. It's on my bucket list. I want to visit so many countries on my list. Switzerland, Canada, South Africa, Mauritania. Is that how it's pronounced? I don't know. Mauritania? Yeah. Yeah, so many countries. Namibia. I have so many countries on my list, and I can't wait. Who's my dream guest for the podcast? Naomi Ishimwe. She's Miss Rwanda 2020. I have many dream guests, but for now, she's the one that I would love to come onto my podcast. She's such a lovely person. I know I haven't met her in person, but there's just this authenticity that she radiates from her videos that I watch on YouTube. When I'm watching her YouTube videos, it's like she's right there in the room with me. She's just so natural, and I love that. I love such energy. And you know what's really amazing is that she's in the country right now. She's in Uganda right now. That already, I was like, oh my god, Naomi is in Uganda. Oh my god, if I ever get the chance to meet her, I know I wouldn't be able to say everything, but I would mostly say that you inspire me. You're so loving. Yeah, Naomi, if you ever get to listen to this, I want you as a guest on my podcast. Yeah, so those were the 6 questions that would give you a bit of an insight about who your podcast host is, and maybe when the podcast grows and I've gained a bigger followership, I will do a bigger Q&A. But now, let's get right into the good stuff. We've all been in moments where you come across this person, whether it's a she or a he, and they're really, really nice. They treat you properly. And then you start to have a crush on them. And then you also wonder that this person might like me. I think they like me. I mean, they're nice to me. They give me compliments. They smile at me. It's, and you get caught up into, you end up having high expectations of a person, and then eventually you're disappointed. You're heartbroken because you jumped to a conclusion. This person was just being nice to you because they're genuinely a nice person. So I'm going to talk about that. It's mainly about jumping to conclusions. misinterpreting social cues with people. And this is no judgment at all, because I've been here and I get it, guys. I get it. It can be at work, it can be at church, it can be anywhere. But you're seeing this person frequently. They're part of your day-to-day activities. So I think the best example here is work. I'm going to use a work setting. You have a workmate and they compliment you every day. Let's say they compliment you every day, or they compliment you regularly. When you wear properly, they're like, you look really good. You have a really nice dress. I like your bracelet. I like your necklace. You look nice. And this person is just being genuinely, they're the kind of people that they give you a compliment. They serve it to you when they see it. And I think I'm also that kind of person. If you look good, I'm going to tell you that you look good. I'm not going to hold it back. It doesn't necessarily mean that this person is interested in you and they have like romantic interest in you, but they're just genuinely complimenting you. And that's it, guys. That's it. There's no chocolate on top of it. There's no samka cherry on top. No. And then another thing is eye contact. Guys, eye contact is something that also that puts me in some weird phase. I'm not so good with eye contact. I can't look in somebody's eyes for some seconds, and I look away, then I go back some seconds and I look away. I can't look at you for a very long time. And some people are they're very firm in the way they communicate. They look into your eyes, and then for you in your head, you're like, this person looks into my eyes. Oh my God, I think they like me. No, they don't. They don't like you like that. That's just how they communicate. Actually, in many cultures, eye contact is just a form of being polite. When somebody looks away, then it's kind of weird. So they might be used to that, and they'll maintain eye contact, because they want you to understand what they're saying. And you read too much into it. Before you know it, you have a huge crush on this person, but then they're not quite, reciprocating, but they do the eye contact thing almost every day, and you're like, and you get confused. You're there wondering, does this person like me? They look into my eyes. Guys, that's just how they talk. That's how they communicate. Do not jump to conclusions. There are times when eye contact is a form of showing that you're interested in someone, but I'm going to get to that later on. I must make a disclaimer. I have no idea, completely no idea, if these are actual solutions, okay? This is not expert advice. Pathfinders, please. I know I've dedicated myself to help you find solutions on some things, but this is just from experience. This is something that has kind of worked for me, so maybe it could work for you. Do you also know these people who they remember details about you, whether it's your birthday, whether it's something you told them like last week, and then they bring it up in the next week, small details, and you're like, this person remembers my birthday, they remember these, they remember that. Oh my God, does that mean that they like me? No, they don't. Maybe it's just something that they do, it's just something about them that's common to them, and they just remember small intricate details about you, or they know the kind of shoes you like or the kind of coffee that you take, and they're like, oh, I was passing on my way from this, and I brought for you this because I know that you like taking it, or something like that. They're just being nice, guys. Do not read too much into it. Some people just remember details about it, and to them it's a normal Tuesday, yeah. But to you, you're there. You're in cloud 9. Then we also have people who you have deep conversations with these people. It can be a workmate, can be anyone, but you see this person almost every day, or you talk to them, you text with them or something, you have phone calls with them, and you understand each other very well. And so eventually you get to wonder, oh, maybe this is my person. Maybe they like me because they get me or something. It's usually not the case. Some people are just good listeners. I am a good listener. I've been told that I'm a very good listener. I think that's why people like talking to me. Because when I'm talking to somebody, my goal is not to answer you. My goal is to understand you first so I will listen to you. And some people are like that. And that's it. There's no hidden meaning, there's no nothing. Encryption, zero. They're just good listeners. I think what we just need to understand is that there are nice people out there, okay? Very nice people. They will help you with things. They will remember things about you, and you start wondering like, this person knows my favorite color, or they're very observant of things about you. But people, that doesn't necessarily mean that they like you like that. Some people are just nice, okay? They're just nice. But when it comes to such things, it usually means something else. When they say that when somebody lashes out and they're angry, it's usually because deep down inside they're hurting. That saying that says, hurt people, hurt others. So I think it's the same thing. You coming out like this and reading too much into social cues with people might mean something else. I think it sometimes comes down to wanting to seek validation from these people. You feel like you're not enough. And so when you get any kind of attention from another person, you automatically think that it's a, love interest. And then you start to overthink and you start imagining, or you could just be an overthinker. You could just be an overthinker. You over-imagine things, which also takes me to another point, which is romanticizing things all the time. I think you have to stop that. It's really nice to romanticize your life, but every single encounter, no guys, not every girl or every man you're going to meet is the one. I think also the media has things to do with it. The pop culture, the movies that we watch, the meet cutes, they have been over-popularized. When you bump into a guy or when you make a sudden eye contact with somebody in a place, or the person compliments you, and bear in mind, this is a stranger, and immediately you think it's a meet cute. Sometimes it's just that we don't have to romanticize everything or overthink things. And eventually it all comes down to asking yourself why you keep doing something like that. Why do you keep jumping to conclusions about encounters you have with people at work, with people at church, with this particular person? Why? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Look deep within yourself. But for me, I'd mostly say, from my experience, I think it was just I wanted to seek validation from this person. I had a low self-esteem, and when this person, whenever they complimented me, whenever they, I was like, I'm loved, I'm liked, when it really wasn't the case. They're just being nice. Calm down. So like I said, these are not standardized solutions, but there are a few things I think that people should consider. And there's one thing that I want to focus on, and that is intentionality. people please. They say that these relationship things are complicated and what, like everyone likes using that word complicated, but I think we're the ones, human nature naturally just wants to we're the ones who make things complicated. Things are mostly that simple, and it comes down to that word, which is intentionality. And I've seen it with my eyes. I can attest to it 100 times. If somebody is interested in you in that way and they like you and they want to date you, they will make it known, period. If you are in a situation where you are reading into things, this person gives you compliments, they do what, they're all nice and what, but they haven't yet come to you to tell you that, hey, I want to take you out on a date, I want to do this, no. Also, just pay attention to context, guys. Context is it's a very important aspect. Whenever you see information, always try to look for context. That's how these days that I view things that I see on social media. I always look for context because it's so easy to jump to conclusions. That's why they say when there's like a wrangle, when there's a terrible story that has come out, always get both sides. And that's the same thing with this. Always add context to your encounters. Pay attention to that context. Context is very important. Are you in a professional setting or are you in a personal setting? If you're at your workplace and your colleague tells you look good, it's not a sign of personal interest, okay? If you're at a social event and somebody comes and they're like, you have a nice dress, nice necklace, or nice pants, or something like that. Like, I like your sweater. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're attracted to you. You have to check the context, people. Are you in a public place? Are you in a private place? Does this person act a certain way only with you or with other people? In public, how do they act? In private, how do they act? You have to ask yourself such things. Also, some cultures, they emphasize warmth, like us, the Baganda. We treat you like queen, king. What? You get? The lady comes, she kneels down and what? Because that's just our way of extending kindness to you. And then you're like, you start thinking different things. That's just how it is. Sometimes it even comes down to, let's say if you're going to buy something, and this person is the receptionist, and then they're like, oh, you're most welcome, thank you, have a seat. That's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. That's customer care, people. Please do not read into things that are not there. So always look for context, understand it, pay attention to it. And of course, like I've told you before, I'm such an advocate of communication. I'll talk about communication at some point. Maybe I don't know how many episodes this season should have, maybe 10 or more, but I think 10 are enough, to give people time to listen. I don't want to overpump you guys with information, so I'll probably have only 10 episodes and I'll begin season 2 next year, probably around Feb. I'll let you know how the first month of 2025 was. And anyways, I know it's awkward, sometimes it's weird, but you can let them know, like, hey, you've been doing this for like the longest time, and what does it mean anything? And the person will tell you no or yes. What's the worst thing that could happen? It's always good to communicate. But one thing I'm going to emphasize is intentionality. People are intentional with the things that they want. That's just how human beings are. The key word for this episode is intentionality. Anyways, this has been such a good talk. I've had fun talking about this particular topic, and I hope it's helpful. I hope it helps you guys self-reflect especially if you're in such a situation and you're wondering if this person likes you or whatever. It may not be the case, but I know for a fact that if somebody really likes you, then they're going to let you know. They're going to tell you. Yeah, so let's not read too much into things. They're just being nice, okay? Let's calm down. I'm so grateful for my life. I'm so grateful for my listeners. Grateful for the support from you people. I do not take it for granted. I pray that officially, Brightness grows into something that adds value onto people's life. I want to be a pathfinder that really helps people. Let's help people let's make way for people. And we can make way for people in so many different ways. We can be understanding, we can be empathetic towards people, we can listen to them. It's not just about giving solutions, but it's about also understanding other people. Now I'm just mumbling. This has been a good week. It has really been a good week. I'm happy. I'm happy. I believe 28 is going to be a good year for me. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next Friday.